Ladies and gentle hands, welcome back to the hardcore world, and in today's video we're going to be working in the nether dimension. Yeah, it's been a while since we've given any attention to the nether. The overworld is so boring. Come on, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's head to the nether. Now, the main reason we're going to be working in the nether this week is because we have a bit of a nether hub situation that we need to address. It's getting pretty bad. Let me hitch up Mueller over here. There you go, buddy. But we have our subway system that uses the minecarts and the nether travel, or the nether portals, to travel between our far out destinations and some closer destinations as well. So inside the nether tracks here in this dimension, we just have a bunch of this stuff everywhere. It's kind of nasty. And I want to start laying out some initial ideas for our nether hub. So I've been debating for a while if it's worth having an open style for the nether hub or a closed off style. And what I mean by that is, do we want to make a tunnel around all of these tracks and kind of keep it all closed in and confined to the space that we determine? Or do we want to leave it open and have this beautiful skybox? I know, it's all just red, solid red. Do we want to have the skybox be visible and be part of the atmosphere? And I do think I want to go with an open style. I just think it gives a lot more opportunity for us to be creative, because we could even do terraforming up here on the nether roof. I know it's a little bit more tedious because we need to spawn proof every single thing if we don't want any bad guys griefing us, aka ghasts and all that fun stuff. So as you probably noticed from the thumbnail, we have a very fun subway style we're going to be kind of going for, although subway is not very accurate. I guess it's like an above ground train system. I mean, that's just a normal train, isn't it? Oh my god, I'm stupid. I guess the style I'm going for is like a bit more Japanese style, and we could even implement some more like terraforming around the central area, maybe around some of the junctions. We have some more open sky and everything, and then maybe we can get to some of these longer tunnels like this guy right here. This goes all the way out to our desert and the seaside area of our world where we have a lot of our ocean builds. Maybe we make a tunnel over there a little bit further in. We have some cool mountains or something. I don't know. There's a lot of really cool opportunities we could do out here if we do an open system. So I'm looking forward to doing that and working on the subway train over here. But before we get working on that, I think it's time for America's favorite segment. Interiors with Barce. Hello. Yes, it is time to begin working on the interior for the little river house we made last episode in this very spot. I'm very excited to work on this because this is also going to function as a little bit of a farm for firefly bushes and the regular bushes. So we have a little bit of space right back here in this little like stone section of the build that we can kind of shove in maybe one or two farms, and I'm thinking it would fit really nicely back here, especially with this kind of being, you know, there's a water wheel on the other side of this wall right here, so it kind of makes sense for there to be a little bit of machinery on the inside here. Now, I already went through and fixed up the floors a little bit, and there's not much work for us to do for the walls. Maybe we can kind of switch out some of these blocks here for some stairs to get a little bit of nicer shading and stuff, and maybe no water leaking through. You guys see that? Just started raining outside, and now there's fireflies inside too. Great, this house needs some freaking better insulation or something. All right, the first thing we'll do is fix up the roof here a little bit, get some nice stairs going. And then I was actually debating on changing this wall here to be the outside mushroom texture like we have on the outside here. But I kind of think the inside mushroom texture kind of looks a bit more wooden. And I'm kind of going for a log cabin, like a hunting cabin kind of feel, you know, like a cabin you'd see out in the middle of the forest. And, you know, with a bunch of trophies, and I say trophies as in like hunting trophies, like skulls of, I don't know, animals. And then maybe we have a little bit of a loft right here, maybe just for this, like these 3 blocks here, that we can have a nice little loft kind of overlooking everything. It'd be a nice little bedroom up there. And then this whole back wall here, I think right on this level, we will we'll stone it off, and then that will be where our farms are. And then for the rest of this, we'll have to go get a little creative, you know. I got some blocks here, nothing too much. I just kind of grabbed some basics. I know I want some red rugs in here. That's for show, kind of match the whole green trim we have going on, the whole timber. But I did forget deep slate, so let's go back and grab some deep slate and then fix up the freaking roof. If you are new to this Interiors with Barce segment, I like to do 3 kind of phases on my interiors. So first phase is always to install the floors the walls and then the ceilings, because sometimes when you make an interior, you know, or like you have an exterior for a building, you don't really have any interior stuff laid out or even ready yet. So it's always nice just to kind of polish everything up, get everything kind of situated, get some basic shaping going down. Like I think I'm gonna make the loft here as well shortly after I do the roof here, and it'll just kind of help understand the space that we're gonna be working in for the interior itself, and it really helps streamline the process. All right, all of our walls are in place. We got our loft in as well. We have our little back facade here where this is going to be where our two farms are going to be. We got the left and the right module. Now, something I don't like right now is this light being right here because it makes this brick really, really bright because it's right up against it. And this looks a little bit odd. I want a bit more of a dim lighting kind of feel throughout the whole place. So we bring that away from the walls here and it helps light up the whole place a little bit more evenly. It makes it have a bit more of a dingy kind of, maybe there's one or two candles kind of lighting up the whole room kind of feel to it. All right, but now I want to install a furnace. I'm either going to do a furnace or a big old fireplace. I'm debating on the two. Now, obviously furnace, I don't mean normal old Minecraft furnace like this guy right here, all right? This, not what I'm talking about. I guess it kind of is what I'm talking about. I'm talking more like a blast furnace, and then maybe we could hook up some walls to it. And then out from the house, we could have this big old tube coming out, and this will be like the home furnace. This is what kind of lights up and warms the entire cabin here. It's something that a lot of older homes have. I feel like a lot of homes nowadays definitely don't have a furnace installed, but I want to go ahead and try because this is a little bit of an older house on the riverside. And I think we'll put it right here in the middle of this little square grid we have. We'll grab a blast furnace, a cauldron. And the reason I grab a cauldron is because I want it to feel like it's up on a little bit of a stilt, although it's not as good as a stilt as I thought it was going to be. But essentially we're doing this, which I think looks pretty good. We want a bit of a slab here to prevent, you know, in the real world, when we have furnaces like this, there's a big old brick layer or some sort of stone slab on the floor, kind of surrounding the furnace to make sure none of the ashes or any sparks go out and, you know, catch fire onto any carpet or any wood that's nearby. So we keep it like this with a little bit of a slabbage. We maybe texture it a little bit too with some bricks, and then maybe a polished one back here. Yes. Then with our deep slate walls, we kind of just connect this up to the roof, and maybe we kind of have it poke through somewhere over there. Uh-oh, I'm short. Oh, and the rain cleared up. Beautiful. There we go. That's feeling very nice. Now, I gotta figure out a way for us to get to this top floor here. Originally, I was wanting to do a staircase, but if I do a staircase in here, it's going to take up freaking half the room, seriously. And I was going to do it over here, but then I was like, oh no, furnace would be way cooler. So I'm kind of thinking, I'm thinking back on a memory a long time ago when I was a wee lad, when I had a log cabin visit. There was a ladder to the upper loft area, and I think we can kind of replicate that. Now, fun story about that ladder. I actually fell off said ladder all the way down to the lower floor, on top of a suitcase that was laying down below. I got a little too rowdy up in the loft area and fell so far and hurt myself. Now, to justify my falling and my clumsiness, there were blankets kind of all over the floor in the loft area. And yeah, it was just like kind of covering the hole a little bit. Okay, so give me a break. Don't be too mean to me in the comments, please. I prefer if you're not mean to me. All right, but there we go. We have our ladder installed. You gotta crouch just because I want to maintain the roof. But now up here we can add in, oh wait, we forgot a stair. Where'd I steal you from? There you go. Uh-oh. There you go. So I guess we can add in some fences up here. Maybe we just do some oak fences. There we go. Very nice. I kind of hate how it doesn't connect right there, but Minecraft. All right, these shoulder boxes are starting to irritate me a little bit because they're just taking up all the room that's in here. And there's not a whole lot of room in here. It's very crowded. But now we have a lot more room. It feels a lot more cozy. And maybe we just do that. Kind of throw it all on over here on the wall. Sure, why not? All right, we got to add in a nice little dining table and some seatings around it. Yes. So I'm thinking nice and classy. Spruce stairs. We make this maybe too wide. So we do something like this. And then we can kind of just drag that along. Maybe we kind of cut off right there. Maybe nothing too big. Yeah, nice little too wide one, and maybe we just go in here and throw in some slabs just to Not make it so repetitive. That's pretty good. I like that. Now for the chairs around the table, I'm thinking we could do some mangrove chairs to kind of match, you know, the whole vibe we got going on in this place. Oh man, the ladder's in the way, isn't it? Okay, there we go. And then we'll make some doors to be the backside of the chairs. From the reference images that I'm using, they're a lot more like bulky chairs. Ideally, we would have like a bit more of like the typical chair look to this. But I also do like the, you know, the style of being able to actually sit on these chairs. I don't want to use like bamboo or cauldrons or something. I feel like nice and simple and just like colorful is always the way to go, at least for my interiors. Some people like to get a little more fancy with it. All right, we have a problem. You can't place signs on two sides of the same block, so we have to use fence gates. Yeah, fence gates, yeah. There we go. The chairs look a little bit more awkward now, but it makes sense. Yeah, I think so. I like that. Sure. And while we're here, we may as well add in some plates for all these guys. Okay, not on the floor. And a little bit of a flower pot action like that. And then maybe, just maybe, a sea pickle. Perfect. I don't know what it is. I like adding sea pickles to my to my tables and stuff. I think they look so cool on tables. All right, now it's time for us to add in a rug. And originally I was thinking of doing a red rug, which I think still makes sense with this place. Maybe, let's try it out. Let's try it out. Okay, it's not bad. It's not the worst. I've seen worse rugs. Okay, we'll sit on it for a second because I still want the rug to feel kind of fancy. There's a good chance we just fully pivot to carpet on top of here, and then we do signs underneath it to get a nice little trim look on it. But I do want that fancy kind of nice trim. What is that? Where's the word I'm looking for? Arabic, I think. Arabic carpets or rugs. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I might be wrong. All right, now our last dilemma is trying to figure out how we're gonna decorate these walls. I'm thinking paintings, nice and simple, nothing crazy. We get a nice little painting right. That's a big painting. You get a nice little painting right here. Little boom. Yes, perfect. I like that guy. Then maybe even right next to it, we do a little 1x1 painting. Oh, yeah, that guy's nice. Maybe we even throw a little tripwire hook underneath them. Oh, yeah. And then somewhere on these walls, we got to figure out how we're going to do a trophy. And I'm really racking my brain on how we can do something cool with this trophy. Originally, I was just thinking a skeleton skull. Nothing too crazy. Well, actually, it is kind of crazy. I don't think I have any skeleton skulls like that. But we can get one really easily from a deep dark if we hunt good enough. I don't think there's any available in the deep dark underneath my base. Wow, it is a very beautiful night right now in Minecraft. Holy crap. Oh, he's walking over my bridge. Oh man, at least take the staircase. Lame. Okay, I will say this house got some freaking views of this valley. Holy crap. Over here you see the whole hillside village. See White Bridge, you see the windmill, you see a fully leathered armored zombie. You see the art museum, you see part of the cyberpunk area, and also the satellite, which looks crazy over there. I love that. My world's really coming together. I've been really enjoying playing Minecraft recently in this world. Okay, any bad guys back here? No? Okay. Oh, bookshelves! Oh my goodness, I can't believe I almost forgot about bookshelves. That's a freebie. Okay, maybe we do some bookshelves over on this right here. Boom, boom. Then maybe a little tiny one over in this corner. Maybe even not that high. Maybe just like that. And there's also a lot of shelves in these buildings too. We gotta grab our trapdoors. Yes. You know what? Let's put another painting right here. Boop. Oh, I like that guy. Then we could technically put another bookshelf right here in this corner, but it connects up the walls out here. I mean, that's not too bad. Do we take the risk? Yeah, we may as well. We can do that too. Just commit to it a little bit. All right, but now let's add some pots and what else? I guess just some pots onto these shelves here. Boop, 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 boop. Then of course we grab some flowers. Let's do, oh my God, we can put a cactus flower on one of these shelves too instead of doing a pot. Maybe it could be more interesting on this shelf like that. So maybe right here next to the furnace, we could put up some clothes. And then somewhere else, we can put a fishing rod kind of hanging off one of the shelves. Maybe even right there, we can put a fishing rod. Ooh, and I just got a really fun idea too. Okay, I know this is interiors with Barce, but we're going to bring this outside. Hi, spider. We're going to kill the spider on the tree. Pest control. And we're going to add a bit of a drying rack on the outside here because we're assuming some of these people who live in this cabin here probably do a little bit of fishing, probably do a little bit of hunting. Loving every day. So we'll add in a nice little drying rack over here. And I've done this design once or twice before. And essentially the whole point of the drying rack here is just to add some fish onto it. And a little bit of life, a little bit of decoration like that. So we grab our food shulker, and I have some raw cod in here. And I don't think you can put anything else on the campfires. You can only put things you can cook on the campfires. So we'll kind of just do a little bit of this. Add some variety onto these shelves. And there we go. Now we have some fish kind of drying out. You know, they're not actually cooking, but they're drying. All right, now back to the inside where we're nice and safe and not scared of the outside. And there we go. Now we can add in the booties, the fishing rod over here, and then a little piece of leather for this guy right there. Yes, I'm loving how this is turning out. It's very cozy. I want it to be a little bit messier, so I think I might add in a bit more tripwire hooks and maybe even some oak buttons to kind of complement the tripwire hooks. So we can do something like this. We can even do a button up there, or maybe we make that one a spruce button. Yeah, spruce just blends ever so slightly better there. And then we can do another, maybe a hook and another button right there. Hook and button. Or maybe even hook, hook. Hook, hook, yes. And then maybe on this wall right here is where we actually end up putting the trophy. It's also a little bit more central, so it might make a little bit more sense. I guess we gotta go find a skeleton skull. I say that like it's supposed to be easy, but it's gonna take me, I'm gonna guess, 35 minutes. Start the timer. All right, according to my knowledge of Minecraft, a lot of deep darks like to spawn underneath these big old mountains like this, and there's a cave entrance right here. I don't think I've explored any of the cavings around here. I don't like to go caving very often, all right? Admittedly, it is quite dangerous. We'll turn on gamma for a second here just so we can see while we try to spelunk down here. Okay. All right, we're already at deep slate level. Perfect. Wow, this cave is pretty clean going straight down. Oh, hi, spawner. Low-key grabbing this lapis because I feel like I never have enough lapis. Oh, would you look at that? Wow, okay. Very easy. Now, where can we find a skeleton skull? There we have it. Wow, that was, okay, that was way too fast. I might just kind of send it for this guy. Okay, maybe not. We'll just crouch. We'll be safe. We'll be a little safe Sally. Make sure we don't trigger nothing. Everything looks pretty safe around here, though. Yoink. All right, where do we come in from? Up there? Get me out of here. Oh! Okay. Okay. Are we good? We're out of the deep dark. I hated that. Why did it have to screech at me when I missed my ender pearl? So mean to me for what? Let's get out of here. All right, you guys want to learn a cool Minecraft trick I learned the other day? So if you line up your ender pearl with the edge, like the two corners of a block like this, it'll actually teleport you randomly in the world to loaded chunks. So check this out. Ready? Oh my goodness. What a perfect ender pearl. Holy crap. I'll never be that lucky again. All right, but here is our trophy, the skeleton skull. Now, I wonder if we can put an item frame behind there, because then maybe we can do something fun with that. Boop. No. Boop. Don't pop off. Don't pop off. Don't pop off. Don't pop off. Oh. All right, will this work if I place the skull on you and then oh, okay. It looks a little strange though. Okay, that's fine for now, I guess. It doesn't, you can't really even see the bone. That's not what I wanted. All right, you know what? I'll have to do for now, I guess. And then finally, we'll add in these two flowers right in that corner. And now it's time for us to work on some redstone in here. This is gonna take me a second, ain't it? All right, let's see if farm number 1 works. If I start spamming this, okay, and then, great. I mean, it like kind of works, but I maybe have to stand back like this. Okay, okay, it works. It actually works really well. Oh, look at them flowing in. Okay. So I think the only change I need to make is add a little trap door right there to make sure none of these guys kind of fly through. This should be fine. Okay, but the bush farm works. That's all that freaking matters. Let's go. All right, now it's time for the firefly bush farm. This one's a little bit different because I don't know why, man. I'm just following a design that one of my friends made and I'm just copying it kind of and making it retrofit into this little small space. Yes. All right, it's time to test the firefly bush farm now. We load it all up with our boner meal, and then we do this and this and this, and we do a little bit of this. I mean, it looks like it's working. The only issue right now is that it's all flying forward into this little slot. I mean, honestly, I could almost cover this one up entirely, but that's boring. What if I get a little trap door for this fella? Boom, like that, and then... Oh, okay, that's not the answer we're looking for. All right, you know what? Maybe a window is fine. Let's go grab some glass real quick. There we go. All right, but now we have a firefly bush farm and a bush farm. Our only issue now is we have no freaking bone meal at all. Oh, it makes me so sad how little bone meal we have in this world, but I kind of just have to suffer with it. Where's my redstone box? There it is. We have to live, laugh, and learn that we have no bone meal in this world. I can AFK at my skeleton spawner for however long I want to, and it still will never be enough bone meal. Eventually, we're gonna have to find a solution to that. Come on. But I think that about does it for our interior work because there's not much left to do. I think we're pretty happy with this. Let's do a little bit of a walkthrough, a little review. All right, so here's our full walkthrough. First off, we have our cute little drying rack for some fishies and for some hunting stuff. Awesome. You come on the inside, and it's a nice and beautiful, brightly lit, but still a little dim. We have a lot of knickknacks on the shelves here. We got fishing rod. We got some boots over here. We have some bookshelves all over the place. A bunch of tripwire hooks to kind of show just like things where you can, you know, maybe dry up some fish or just dry up whatever. We have some leather up there. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it's all kind of just nice to look at. Nothing's too standoutish. Maybe the flower up there is a little standoutish, but it looks nice. Then over here we have a nice little bush farm and a little bit of a firefly bush farm. It's all with the flick of the lever that's right next to it. And then we have our trophy up here, which the skeleton skull was a bit of a rare find, but it wasn't too difficult. Oh, and then we have our loft, of course. The loft is a little lackluster, but I don't think I'll ever come up here. Maybe once in a blue moon, I'll be like, oh, I need to sleep real quick, and I'll be too lazy to pull out my normal bed for it. But this is our interior, and I think it turned out pretty nice. And it's definitely one of my more favorite interiors that we've made in this world. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that interior segment. I haven't done some interiors in a while, and I've been kind of wanting to, you know, scratch that itch for quite some time. I had some fun with that one too. But we're back here in the Nether, and I think it's time for us to begin building on this subway train here. I keep saying subway, but it's just a normal train, okay? There's no subness about it. It's just aboveness train. Man, sometimes I just say whatever comes out of my mouth. Some of the design elements we're going to be using in this build are actually kind of inspired by some cyberpunk Japanese things. So there might be some similarities between the cyberpunk city and what we do in here, but I think that's all right. I was also thinking for each direction we have here, right? Because these are all of our cardinal directions. We could try to have a little bit of fun with it too, and maybe each train cart eventually is going to have different colors depending on what direction, what line you're going on. So yeah, I think that'll be pretty interesting and pretty fun. I also want to work on some more lighting fixtures in the Nether hub here because the only light we have are from the Nether portals and from the redstone. So it's pretty dim up here. And especially with my fog on how I have the fog configured, a lot of the colors get drowned out and it's very desaturated and dark on the Nether roof here. So we'll try to kind of combat that with some brighter colors and some more interesting tones. Anyways, I think it's time for us to get started on the first Nether train. Of course, this is just kind of the start of this project. This is a way bigger project than I could do in my very limited time I have between last video and this video. Fun fact, I'm going home for Mother's Day. So this is going to be filmed within about a day. So wish me luck. And if the quality is bad, I apologize. But anyways, as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the montage. Last call, all aboard! Oh yeah, the build is complete, and I am very happy with how this thing turned out. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I need to mob proof it, don't I? Oh my god, I forgot about that. Okay, hold on. I brought some wool carpets, white carpets. We'll have to mob proof the roof of this and probably the inside as well. Now, there's nothing fancy about the interior on the inside. It's very much just some seats and some windows, and they look pretty cool. This guy's our first passenger. Hi, buddy. Hopefully our last passenger too, because we do need to mob proof this to prevent any bad guys from spawning, especially in like the Soul Valley here. Skeletons can spawn, and just like everywhere. Oh, also gas. Yeah, gas can spawn too. They're more dangerous than skeletons. Oh my goodness. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the beginning of our Nether Hub transformation. It's gonna take a long time to get a lot of this planned out. I might be doing a few creative streams, so make sure to turn on notifications for the channel and join the Discord, yada yada, all that fun plugging. But let's go over the build a little bit now that we've mob-proofed the roof. It feels a little bit safer. But first off, the first thing I worked on was these power lines. Power lines. Bzz, getting shocked thinking about them. But yeah, here's the power lines. They're pretty simple. Just a nice little post here with using some andesite walls. Got these little like stretcher parts out from the power lines. I don't know any of the technical terms for power lines. I'm no power line enthusiast. I'm sure there's maybe one of you out there who is. But essentially, I just mimicked as close as I could an actual power line. Especially, there's one near my house that is very similar to this. The only difference is that it's wooden. And I thought wood made sense at first when I was first working on this. But then I ran into the problem of we're in the nether. And wood doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I think, you know, just going with the andesite, keeping it nice and like cement looking, very steel beamy, is a probably pretty solid starting point. But right here we have a little light fixture coming off. Nothing too crazy with this before. I think we actually have a very similar design in the Cyberpunk City. I don't know what I've changed about it, but this one looks a lot nicer. So if it is different in the Cyberpunk City, I'm probably going to update it to this one. And I know a few of you are going to say, oh, add power lines. We've been saying add power lines to the Cyberpunk City. I definitely will be doing that. I just want to have a bit more planning done for the Cyberpunk City for me to install these power lines. But they'll probably be the exact same. This was a lot of iron. As you can tell, this is probably about 64 blocks across right here. It might be like a little bit more than that. But this was a lot of iron, and I'm glad I used a lot of iron. Oh yeah, and also the anvils, hello. Those are more expensive than the freaking chains. But yeah, I've had like 2 double chests full of iron blocks saved in my world for a long time from my iron farm. It kind of just runs like 24/7. It's never not running. So I have plenty of iron, so it was very nice to go through that supply and kind of dwindle it a little bit. It honestly wasn't that big of a dent, and I'll get all of it back by the time, you know, in like 2 or 3 episodes. It's not that crazy. So one of my favorite designs is actually the front of this. I took inspiration from a reference picture. I will put it up on the screen right now. You can tell it's kind of the reference for the entire build here. But on the front, it was very difficult because there's a lot of really small details, and I couldn't quite get it right. But I think the glow item frame here works great as a little headlight for the main build. And then we have this nice little bulb up top here to be like another headlight maybe for lighting up the track in front of it. And then we're using these signs here to try to connect up the shapes here from the warped wood. But then we also have the stair behind it, creating a nice angle, kind of bringing this nice little swoop of white into the front here, just to give a little bit more texture and a little bit more interest to the front of the train. I do wish it was a little bit more rounded on the front. I tried my best, but any other method I tried, it kind of just looked janky. And it felt like something was wrong. So this is the best I got it to look. Maybe I'll, you know, workshop it a little bit more in the future, but I'm quite happy with this design. We even added in a little bit of these on the side here. These are like advertisements of some sort. Maybe in the future we can go in and add little adverts for other buildings and businesses in the overworld, maybe in the Cyberpunk City or just other places in the world. And here's an orange version of that same advertisement. We can do other, you know, color variations in the future. But as I mentioned in the clip prior, I think it'd be really cool to have different colored trains for each, you know, cardinal direction that we have going on here. So maybe down over here further, maybe a bit closer to the end, we could do like a yellow line for the north direction. And then maybe back this way, we could do a red line and we could have a red themed train. I don't know, there's a lot of really cool things we could do with this. And luckily, I lined these up just right to where when we have these junctions coming up here, because it gets a little bit wider, there's still enough room for the junction to fully function and for the train to act as a nice little decoration. I wish we could drive them and ride these around. It would be way cooler than a lame minecart in a minecart chest, but we do it what we can. We do with what we can. There, that's the saying. Now, like I said, this is a start for our nether hub. Eventually, we'll go through and kind of replace all the floors here too with some nice texturing. We'll probably have to slab a lot of it, either slab or carpet a lot of the railings around here, just because we gotta mob proof it. It's a little bit of a hassle, but I think the whole open floor plan idea that we're going with for the nether hub will be very, very fun to kind of innovate on and just to work on over time. But anyways, y'all, I know it's a little bit of a shorter episode, not much going on, but I had a lot of fun recording it, and also I was very limited on time because I'm going away for the weekend, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and consider joining as a member if you want your name on the side of the list like everyone else does. Ooh, fancy. All right, y'all, that's gonna do it. Bye!